think this will be the second time you guys will have heard it. It's called Code Switching number 2. In French, to fall is tomber, and you'd think the way it sounds would be related to tumble, but it's not. You can tomber amoureux, but you don't tumble in love, though you might stumble into it drunkenly one night in a bodega as you navigate what seems like dozens of aisles, miles of shelves, and acres of end caps, all to scramble for the package of Skittles, stars bursting, as hand collides into hand, rainbows and relief flooding, no, well fallen. In French, to fall is tomber, and you'd think the way it looks, it'd be related to tomb. You'd get the fleeting sense of falling into warm dirt, the smell of earthworms and fresh-cut chrysanthemums. Laisse tomber, they'd say. Let it go. Let go the fistfuls of dirt, the dirty laundry, the laundered past, the past chances, the chance encounters, the counted down and out, the outside curve, the curvy loves, the curses and the courses and the corsets. Laisse tomber le tout. In French, to fall is tomber, and the way it feels in the mouth, you'd think your nose is stopped up, as if it were no longer interested in the sense of her perfume, perhaps a falling out between the smell of a fresh baguette and the memory of the baguette, as if falling behind a dumpster, as if falling between the cracks in your relationship, as if falling hook, line, and sinker for a dead-end dream. In French, to fall is tomber, and in English, fall is both action and disaster, and festooned with multi-hued trees and burnt leaf-scented breeze, it is a season, fleeting. Tomber tumbles trippingly off the tongue, the way fall flails or flees in a fricative fury, as when you tumble in love, tombe to your knees, tombe under her eyes, falling just right and just so, but as they say, it's never the fall that hurts. This next poem is a political one. I'm kind of excited. We'll see how it goes. It's called This Is Not My America. Look at the whole of the map. Mandared or rigged, it matters little what these Jerrys did, the carving clinical for all those turkeys in the red cages and blue cages, occasionally threatened by purple rages. Look at the whole of the map. The flyover states, the beer gut of America, the bloated persuasion that it is the true America, the lock-landed heart of America, tornado-torn and fond of porn, harvested and replanted fields of self-absorption. Look at the whole of the map. The coastal elites with their fancy pants and skinny jeans, neither in my size, with their net worths and networks, their league's ivy, not intramural, their society's secret only after fully paid admission. Look at the whole of the map. The rust belt with belts and bootstraps so rusted, so stripped of value it's impossible to pull up, only able to pull out. Look at the whole of the map. The desert Southwest, deserted of compassion, borders patrolled by trolls, cold as ice, unchanged, even the summer sun not quite hot enough, even with climate change boost. Look at the whole of the map. The dark tundra of Alaska, empty and open, voting machines and voting machinations in plain sight for the Russians who can see their White House. In the northwest corner, Pacific looming, vineyard booming, rugged progressive grooming, sleepless rainy emerald city, Portland fame, ancient golden city in a golden state, gold showers over its gold mines and moving picture show gold lines. Look at the whole of the map. Over snowy rock-capped mountains, past geyser gusting, more hot gas and hot water than guys will be guys politicians, over lands reserved for the only ones that didn't immigrate or assassinate or dominate. Look at the whole of the map. The big red state with its big pink rock capital, campaigns against science and history, front line in the war on women. It's almost as if the other 49 were forgotten. Or the outshined sun, hurricane state, the tail or the prick of America, ass wagging between Gulf and sea. Look at the whole of the map. The South, with its blown-up churches and blown-up cinemas and blown-up nightclubs, bright white terrors glowing in these dark days, America, winter trees, not hanging leaves. Look at the whole of the map. Up, up, up the coast from the Outer Banks to Wall Street banks, past the swamp capital of America, stench stretching from sea to shining sea, bounced through the original colonies. The witches burned better on wood stakes, bonfire lines, the genocide starting line, the white supremacy dancing country western line. And look at the whole of the map, and then finally focus on the harbor, where you must imagine the shadow of two towers. It is Lady Liberty, her torch now a flashlight, barely enlightening the world from the great port of the world. Behind her, the contiguous states of America, doused in darkness, covered in a patchwork quilt, and no e pluribus unum to kick off the covers. Ah, yes. So that was a little something I called This Is Not My America. Thanks everybody who's continuing to join. Something a little bit more light and fun now. This is after Lawrence Ferlinghetti. It's a poem called And You Thought Chagall's Mother Was Bad. Picasso's parental unit shouted about those awful masks on those pleasurable prostitutes, or the trashy pieces of paper that you just paste in paintings. Or during the blue period and rose period, use your palette, Pablo, por favor. Magritte's mother harping on Mademoiselle Fishhead and the oddity of the window pane painting. Renee, maybe make men with mustaches and mountain fedoras and make more dark-skied midnights. And they kept on painting. And Syrah's maman decidedly doting on his little dots. Georges, with all this color and light, give us dashes and dips and dives in your circuses, dancing dogs and more danseuses doing can-cans and landscapes. You need more landscapes. Dotty people are not enough. And Dali's madre, cutting to the quick, don't you dare melt these clocks or set these giraffes on fire. Don't you put those elephants on stilts or tigers and pomegranates. You close that woman's drawers and get in here and clean your room. And they kept on painting. Raphael's supportive stepmother, effusive in her excitement. How I could just pinch the cheeks of your cherubs, so pure and so pink. But really, put some clothes on those muses. They'll catch their death of mud. And at least all those Greeks in that school in Athens look like they're philosophizing and pontificating. Let's keep it that way. And then Kandinsky's mother, Vasily, your geometry text has just vomited all over your canvases. Give me more figures floating in a blue sky. Your expressionism is gobbledygook, abstract gobbledygook. And they kept on painting. And my mother, she who just tags along to the museum, ticket and tour guide in hand, just keeps muttering, asking, I swear, what do you see in these paintings? This one should be fun. And I will give a little preface to this one saying I do mention a lot of various gods and other mythological figures in this poem. So if you hear a word, the name of a god or goddess that you don't recognize, that's what it is. Just the name of a god or a goddess that you might not know. It's called Indeed the Gods Are Crazy, and You Can Always Tell When They're Messing with You. She was so beautiful, I couldn't breathe. Lungs and emptied smithy's bellows, hot and useless, waiting, the trick of a diabolical asthmatic cupid. She smelled of moonlight, blinking between the petals of light purple flowers, breeze-bent and strong. Her voice was the color of the first sunrise of a ceasefire, calm, welcome, cherished, strange melange of incantations from a bisolar lunar Kamadeva. She moved in Alexandrins with a vocabulary from foreign dictionaries, incomprehensible, melodic, off-rhymed, baroque bedizened bluffs from a flowing Benzaiten. She wrote novels with her eyes, Proustian, quixotic, saga-ish, assertive antics of an arachnid Anansi, woo and web weaving, sculpted dreams with her lips, as serpentine as Matisse's dancers or statues, swindling shenanigans of a Sarasvati. Her fingertips composed concertos in C major, blaring bluffs of a bellicose Bess. Her eyes, deaf to my silent signing, gestures of inelegance, unfathomable, the feints and fakery of a frisky Freya. Her touch warm to the book tucked under her arm, fingers clenched around a dulled pencil, the whole outside world cacophonic and chaotic. She stepped into it, freezing me and myth and memory for another lifetime, somewhere far from here. And this next one is going to be called Oh, Says Tina. Just before the glorious door thwack on ass, she turns. Oh, says Tina, don't you think for one second that my leaving is invitation for you to start penning poems or writing verses about me. You can't exercise this destruction in humorous deflections about your failings or my alleged transgressions. I repeat, do not write about me. You will not have the last word in all of this. As if I could get the last or any word in during our time together. No, says Tina. I won't have you repeating those tired stories of how I've packed the past into cases, leaving my baggage at your feet, your steamer trunk of distrust, humorous until you try to lift it, the suitcase of regret, duffel of defensiveness, and the writing on the tags, property of Tina, to be carried by you. It isn't right that your burden's blame was forced into my hand. I gave word that I would help, and at first your pouty whine and pouty pucker were humorous and endearing, you fitting neatly between my arm and torso. Say, Tina, though I'm enjoying the view as you're leaving, it might be good that you don't repeat your own patterns of inanity, like when you repeatedly asked for multiple orgasms and more attention, or asked me to write little love lyrics and lusty lullabies and leave them under your pillow, in your purse, texted to your phone. My words convinced you of nothing. My deeds, nothing. And what that says, Tina, is that we are stuck with this empty, orgasmless, humorless void. My hands clasped around my unit, yours around my throat. And it's humorous that as this pattern is repeated over and over, you had trouble finding the door. Finally, says Tina, your fist gripping a different knob, I can exit stage right. Yet you stop and yap, uttering nonsensical, edgewise words that just delay my peace and your leaving. And whatever waits on the other side of that door, we are now leaving a wake of once delicious destruction. Your hang-ups no longer humorous, your quirks no longer cute. We work word by word the unraveling of whispered intimacies and affections never to be repeated. Your love of leather, taste for tens units, titillations, your fondness for flagellation. I won't write details about them, but I will say this to you as you go, Tina. It will be hard to repeat the foible fostered your leaving. And yes, I'll be writing about this disaster, hopefully something humorous, maybe a poem. Oh yes, a sestina, and I will have the last word. And this last poem, it's a really short one. It's an erotic poem, so it has no title. From the first moment lips touched lips, I wanted to taste you and could not. Much later, hints of apricot, peach flesh as smooth as the bell of your hips, moon skin delicate, sweaty, flesh heated together, losing time and self in each other, walls start to come down. And when the dust clears, no one will know where and I end. Whisper it. Whisper that last poem. Yeah, you want me to do it again? I'll do it as a whisper. Okay, that's a good idea. I like that. Thanks everybody who's joined. Ward's here, Nikita's here. Great. All right, I'll do this last one again as a whisper. That should be fun. Let's hope the microphone picks it up. From the first moment that lips touched lips, I wanted to taste you and could not. Much later, hints of apricot, peach flesh as smooth as the bell of your hips, moon skin delicate, sweaty, flesh heated together, losing time and self in each other, walls start to come down. And when the dust clears, no one will know where you begin and I end.